Hey guys, welcome back. In this Blender video, we're going to model this mechanical adjustable hinge connection quickly using simple techniques and tools while keeping the workflow simple and efficient and achieving a clean, detailed final model. So, without wasting any time, let's jump right in. First, let's add a cylinder. Then, in the corner panel, change the vertices to 16. Now rotate it 90 degrees on the x-axis. Next, scale it down and make it smaller from the sides. We'll make it half the size, so press S, then Shift Y, type 0.5, and press Enter, so it scales only on the X and Z axes. Next, select these faces on both sides. After that, inset them inwards just a little. Now, with both sides still selected, use bridge edge loops. This will create a straight cut through the middle. Next, duplicate the inner part, then press P and choose Selection to separate it into a new object. This will be the middle center hinge pin. Hide it for now, and let's continue working on this part. Now select these faces and delete them. Then select these vertices. After that, extrude them straight out along the x-axis. We'll snap them over here. To snap to a vertex, change the snapping type to vertex. Now move it and snap it into place so everything lines up. Actually, this part needs to be a little farther more out, so let's move it slightly farther. Now let's fix this here. So here, select and delete these vertices. Then select these vertices, press SZ0 to flatten them. Move them down, but keep them slightly above the bottom part without touching it. Now, move this vertex a little and tweak it until the shape looks nice here. Now select this and let's extrude it out. Extrude it out 2 meters so both sides are equal and it becomes a perfect square. Here with the measure tool, if we check, you can see it's exactly 2 meters on both sides. Now select this edge and press F to fill this here. This is also empty, so fill this the same way. Now add a loop cut right in the middle here. Then add a few loop cuts on this side, keeping this even over here. On the other side, add the same number of loop cuts. Then, in the opposite direction, add the same number of cuts. In this case, there are 9 in other directions, so add 9 here as well. So now, everything is nice and even. Now we have to add the hole over here. Select the faces where the hole will be coming like this. Then inset them inwards. Here you can see it doesn't inset equally on both sides. To solve that, press Ctrl A and apply the scale. Now inset it again, and this time it insets perfectly on both sides. Now here, we'll make this a circle. To make a perfect circle, we would normally use Loop Tool's Circle. But this time, I'll show you another way. In the latest Blender 5.2 LTS, Blender has added the same feature by default, so there's no need to enable the Loop Tools add-on just to make a circle. Just by selecting these faces, go to Mesh, Transform to Circle, and it will turn the selection into a perfect circle. Then, in the corner panel, we can tweak the settings. We'll change the radius to adjust the size of the circle. There are a few other options as well, just like in Loop Tools, which you can use. Now extrude this circular part down and snap it to the bottom. Then delete these faces, select these faces, and delete them too. Then select both these edges. After that, use bridge edge loops over here. Now let's make a duplicate of this for the other side. Hide it for now and keep it aside. Now over here, we need to delete a few faces to create the opening. So select these faces, like this of this part, then delete them to create the opening. Then select this edge and press F to fill this. Keep filling it until this is completely filled. Now over here, add a few loop cuts. Next, unhide the other mesh for the other side. For this one, we need to delete this side part, so select these faces and delete them. Then select this edge and press F to fill this. Add a few loop cuts here. Now select the whole mesh, then go over here and use Symmetrize to mirror this cut to the other side. In the bottom corner, choose the correct axis to mirror it properly. Now we need to rotate this mesh copy to the other side. First, place the 3D cursor in the center over there, then change the pivot point to 3D cursor. First, we'll need to flip the mesh, so press SZ-1 to flip it. After that, rotate it 180 degrees on the y-axis to move it to the other side, and now we have the mesh perfectly on the other side. Next, we'll bevel all the sharp edges so they stay sharp after adding the subdivision surface modifier. Before that, apply the scale for both meshes. Also press Shift-N to recalculate the normals so there won't be any problems. Now quickly select all the sharp edges by going over here and choosing Sharp Edges. Do the same for the other mesh. Then select both meshes and let's bevel them together. Over here, set the profile shape to 1. Turn off loop slide, then change the shape to arc to get rounded corners. Now connect these arc parts like this everywhere they appear. Then add a subdivision surface modifier to both meshes and shade both meshes smooth. Now that's done. Now here, let's model the center pin, which we duplicated earlier. Select this edge and press F to fill this, then inset it inwards. Here, this part is slightly out, so let's move it a little farther out. Now inset it inwards a little. Then use grid fill. Over here, align edges to straight. Now add a loop cut here and move it slightly out to make this part a little rounded. Next, add a loop cut right in the middle. Then add a few more loop cuts here. Now select these edge loops. After that, bevel them. Then select the whole mesh and use Symmetrize to mirror it to the other side. Shade it smooth. Also add a subdivision surface modifier. Now here, scale this middle pin slightly out from the sides. And now, this is done perfectly here. Alright, so that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a few useful modeling techniques along the way. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, comment below and let me know your feedback. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.